Hello, great people. Welcome to another episode of Politics with Dr. Omoshola Deji, your political scientist and public affairs analyst. On today's episode, we're going to be looking at the Ndume saga, the face-off between Senator Ali Ndume and his colleagues in the Senate based on his outburst against the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We might also be looking at the Edo State, the politics of Edo State. Today, 21 July 2024. So we intend to touch on these two topics and see what we can achieve. Nigeria, is a drama place when it comes to politics and happenings in the polity. And that's why I'm right here to bring you all the analysis, to bring you all the updates, to educate you politically and to also learn from you. And that's why I usually say I want to read your comment. Put your comment in the comment section. Don't think whether your comment doesn't make any sense or no. I love to read comments that make sense and comments that doesn't make sense. If you can give me time to listen and hear from me, definitely I also want to give you my time to read your comment. That said, wherever the platform you are watching me from, if it's on Facebook, like this page, Politics with Omoshola Deji. Subscribe to this page and turn on your notification button, because guess what? This is your one-stop channel for politics and happenings in the African polity, not just Nigeria. We also touch on the issues going on in Africa and the world at large. Last week, I made an analysis of the implication of the shooting at Trump rally in Pennsylvania. Today, we're right here in Nigeria trying to talk about the Ndume face-off with the presidency vis-a-vis the Senate and Edo State politics. Now, it's going to be an interesting time with you today. Let's see what we can touch. But before we do that, if you're watching me on Facebook, make sure you follow my channel, and so that you can get all the analysis and all the updates. It's going to be an interesting time today. Now I'm thinking, I'm a bit confused. Should we turn left first or right, or should we stay in the middle? What do I mean by that? Should we treat the Ndume case first, or should we go right straight to Edo State? Well, let's touch on Edo State first before we touch on the Ndume saga. At the end of the day, I may have to split this video and kind of perhaps upload it twice, but let's just flow, let's just enjoy ourselves. It's a Saturday evening in Lagos, Nigeria at the moment, and this is the best time to be with you great people. Now, in Edo State, Philip Shuaibu, the reinstated deputy governor of Edo State, has jumped ship to the APC. What is the implication of this on the politics of Edo State, especially the gubernatorial election? We're going to be learning this in the next few minutes. Don't forget that Philip Shuaibu is traditionally an APC guy. He is traditionally an APC guy groomed by Comrade Adams Oshiomhole. Now, Adams Oshiomhole had a tough time with Godwin Obaseki, the incumbent governor, and Philip Shuaibu decided to pitch tent with Obaseki. He decided to be the loyal deputy. He was quite loyal to Obaseki, to be precise. But at the end of the day, there was an issue between both of them based on political ambition. Philip Shuaibu believes that he is next in line. He is the Emilokon of Edo State. He is the right man to become the next governor of Edo State. But guess what? Godwin Obaseki has other plans. He has a technocrat in the name of Asue Ighodalo that he wants to use for the gubernatorial seat in Edo State. And governors are political lords in Nigeria. They usually have their way. They have their say. So Obaseki was able to twist Philip Shuaibu. He was able to snatch the ticket from him. And while he was able to snatch the ticket from Philip Shuaibu refused to give up. In the course of the hustle and bustle, Obaseki allegedly orchestrated the impeachment of Philip Shuaibu. If Philip Shuaibu had decided to step down when the Obaseki boys were speaking to him, say, oh boy, let Oga, in the person of Godwin Obaseki, let Oga have his way. Let Asue Godalo, let him be the gubernatorial candidate. If Philip Shuaibu had backed down, your guess is as good as mine that he would not have been impeached. Now, is it okay? Is it fine? Is it logical for we to have a democracy whereby the governor is the head of the executive and the de facto head of the legislature? Should the National Assembly be working based on the dictates, based on the wishes of the governor? To me, that is a flawed democracy. I mean, if a governor can just wake up one day and decide to impeach his deputy with the support of the National Assembly, can we say that we have a functional democracy? Can we say that the arms of government are independent of each other? Can an unindependent arm of government uphold the principle of separation of power and checks and balances? All these things give sort of what we call flawed democracy, or if you like, an imperfect democracy, as we have in Nigeria at the moment. But one thing we need to look at before we continue on these analysis of the Edo State politics and the cross-carpeting of the reinstated Deputy Governor Philip Shuaibu. Why do governors usually want to impeach their deputies when they are very powerful? You know that Aketi, the late Aketi, Rotimi Akeredolu, the former governor of Ondo State, did the same thing to Agbola, his deputy, during his first term. Agbola was his deputy. Aketi is like somebody that we can call a professional. I think that's the best way to describe Aketi, because he's been a lawyer all his life. He's a senior advocate. But Agbola happens to be the grassroots politician, the politician that has risen through the ranks. But the APC stakeholders at that time want to use Aketi. And whenever they want to use a professional, they will find a grassroots politician to merge with him as his deputy. So that deputy will be the one doing all the political calculation, permutation, connection, networking, and all that. So when Aketi won the election in Ondo State and Agbola was becoming powerful, Aketi, with the aid of the House of Assembly, orchestrated his impeachment. So it was quite easy for Aketi to orchestrate such impeachment of the number 2 citizen of a state to be impeached just like that. I don't want to go down memory lane to the days of Ladoja and all that. That's why I'm trying to give us modern, or could I say recent, references. Let's go to Kogi State during the reign of Yaya Bello. Yaya Bello in his first term also had a running battle with his deputy. At the end of the day, the guy was also impeached in connivance with the State House of Assembly. I can't remember the name of the guy now. And another person was brought in very close to the election. You would notice that most of this impeachment usually come close to the election, especially when you have a deputy that is not willing to back down. If you don't have a deputy that is push about, a deputy that you can just push, oh yeah, go this way, we just go that way, we just go, the governors usually have tough time with them. Yaya Bello, the ex-governor of Kogi State wanted by EFCC, orchestrated the impeachment of his deputy so easily. So easily. Now we have a similar thing in Edo State. So if our legislature, whether at the national level or at the state level, are weak, can we truly say we have a democracy? Because the difference between democracy and dictatorial government, which is the military government, that is the two that Nigeria has practiced since independence. The difference between these two governments is the existence of the legislature. Remember, there are three arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. In the military days, there's the judiciary. The judiciary functions. The court sit, they give judgments. The executive is the Supreme Military Council. I think, yes, it should be the Supreme Military Council. I'm trying to get the name correctly. That's the executive at that time, and they rule by decrees. So when we transform to democracy, the only difference, one of the major difference, was the existence of the legislature. So if we are in a democracy and the legislature is now weak, can we truly say that we have a democracy? At best, what we have is a dictatorial democracy. Dictatorial democracy. So the issue in Edo State is because Philip Shuaibu is a grassroots politician. He is an ambitious politician. And Obaseki has his own plans. And he wants Philip Shuaibu to cooperate, but Philip Shuaibu is not cooperating. He's not cooperating. Don't forget that years ago, when Oshiomhole, that's why they say in politics there's no permanent friend, there's no permanent enemy. Years ago, when Oshiomhole was trying to deny Obaseki ticket, Philip Shuaibu aligned with Obaseki. Now that Obaseki is trying to deny him the ticket, or has successfully denied him the ticket and got him impeached as deputy governor, now Philip Shuaibu is back with Oshiomhole. That's why in politics there's truly no permanent friends or permanent enemy. What there is permanent interest. The Edo State issue ratifies that particular claim that there is no permanent friend or permanent enemy. What we have is permanent interest. So if you look at the issue of Edo State carefully, what are some of the lesson we can learn from it? Let's go to religion a little bit. Let's use religion to analyze politics. Let's bring in a bit of religion. And that drives us straight to the Islamic faith. Why would you go against your deputy and want him impeached by all means when your deputy is your political next of kin? Because any deputy in Nigeria or across the world is your political next of kin. In other words, if you die, is that your deputy that will inherit your office almost immediately? In other words, the political next of kin to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, is not his son, is not his wife, is not his family. It is Kasim Shettima. God forbid, if anything happens to Tinubu, instantly, within 1 or 2 hours, the chief judge, as the case is, will swear in Kashim Shettima immediately. That's why they say the state is higher than the citizen. Human beings will come and go. We are on transition. There are people that have lived before us. There are people that will live after us. So life is transition. The state is higher than the citizen. Because human beings will come and go. Where is Yaradua today? Where is Abacha? They have all come and gone. We've had presidents that are no longer presidents. So human beings will come and go, but the state remains. The country remains. That's why they say the state is higher than the citizen. So if you die in public office, your political next of kin is not your family, it's not your daughter or your brother or your son or your sister. Your political next of kin is who? It is that your deputy. Is that your deputy? Your deputy is your political next of kin. So if you now treat your deputy badly, if you try to impeach your deputy in a very unusual manner, if you are not nice to your deputy, if you die, now if God now want to catch you, you are now a Muslim. That means that as you dey die instantly, they know they give you second chance. Maybe you feel wake up. They know they carry you go mortuary. Then they bury you straight. So why would you want to be unnice? Why would you want to be callous to somebody that will inherit you politically if anything goes wrong? To somebody that will inherit you politically if you die? Why would you want to be unnice to such a person? So you ask yourself that if politicians know the basic principle that the state is higher than the citizen and human beings will come and go but the state remains, and they know the importance of a deputy, that if anything happens to them, the deputy takes over, why wouldn't you be nice to your deputy? And let us also look at it that if you want to inherit your boss will only allow you to inherit him when he is convenient with you. Your father will only put your name in his will that, okay, if I die, let so inherit me, when he trusts you that you can manage that resources that he has left behind. So if your governor doesn't trust you, he will want you out by all means. So loyalty is the key. Loyalty is the word. The word here is loyalty. But then should governors be desperate? Should governors be desperate? Governors should not be desperate. Governors should also not be desperate. You shouldn't have a deputy that it will be zombie. Once you say go, he will just go. That shouldn't be the case. Now, the main implication of this issue in Edo State, one of the issues, now that Philip Shuaibu haven't been reinstated as deputy governor, although the decision of the court has been challenged, but if you look at the history of impeachment process in Nigeria, most of them are usually flawed and nullified by the court. It happened in Edo State. I said it happened in Kogi State. Almost all impeachment that had been handled had been nullified by the court. So at the end of the day, the court will eventually nullify this impeachment. But you know what? These people know that the impeachment is flawed, but they are just using that appeal to buy time. Because Obaseki have just 4-5 months to go before the appeal court process is run through, and their lawyers will be using different tactics to delay justice, adjournment upon adjournment, and all that. Then they go to the Supreme Court. By the time they would have run through the appeal court and Supreme Court, Obaseki's tenure will be over. They don't mind paying him all the allowances or something. What they don't want is, they don't want Philip Shuaibu to be recognized as the deputy governor of Edo State. And that mission would have been fulfilled. That is why I usually say that in extreme cases, the judicial process in Nigeria should be very fast, in such a way that justice is truly served. The appeal court can decide this appeal within 1 or 2 weeks, while the Supreme Court can decide it within 1 week. So that if truly the impeachment of Philip Shuaibu is flawed, he can occupy that office while Obaseki is still the governor. That is justice. But when the justice is delayed, whether by technicality or by a slow judicial process, and by the time the Supreme Court will deliver judgment, Obaseki's tenure has already expired or is in the last month of the expiration of his tenure, where is justice in that? Where is justice? And justice delayed is justice denied. So the judicial process should run very fast, in such a way that Philip Shuaibu can enjoy the benefits of his office. And it will be very interesting having a governor from APC, having the deputy from PDP during an election. That's going to be very interesting. So, the religious aspect I was saying, if you are a northerner, if you die, instantly they will swear your deputy in. If the president, God forbid, if he dies, I can tell you that before 7 a.m. tomorrow, whether anybody likes it or not, is his political next of him, Kasim Shettima, will be addressed as President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. That is why the state is higher than the citizen. So you see all these politicians that used to carry power, you know, on their head, you know, as if they won't die again. The state is higher than you. Before you become that governor, it was somebody that was occupying that office. You won't be the last, except rapture take place as the Christian believes, or there is, you know, Journal according to the Muslims. If that is not the case, I can tell you that you will go, another person will come in. So why not behave well, so that when you leave, you would have laid good example? Why is it good not to support governors that are laying bad example? I will give you an example with this political issue in Edo State. Obaseki is a traditional APC guy. He was trained and groomed by Adams Oshiomhole. Obaseki would have never thought that a time will come that he will have to leave APC and join another party, because these are traditional APC guys. But when the rift between him and his godfather blew out of proportion, he ran etasketa to the PDP. In a nutshell, what am I trying to say? If when Obaseki was in APC, he had joined APC to dabaru the electoral process, he has joined he as a member of APC have colluded with others to dabaru the constitution and the electoral process. That is how he will desperately need PDP. And that electoral process, that constitution that he has helped them to dabaru, that bad precedent that he has joined them to lay, will now work against him as a member of the PDP. That is why, as a politician, it is always good to behave fairly. It is always good to be upright. It is always good to try and find a middle ground, because nobody knows tomorrow. And like I said earlier, that in politics there's no permanent friend, there's no permanent enemy. What you have is permanent interest. What you have is permanent interest. Because in the last election, Philip Shuaibu stood with Obaseki to end the godfatherism intention of Adams Oshiomhole. Now, Obaseki don't match Philip Shuaibu face. Philip Shuaibu is now back with Oshiomhole, his enemy in their last election. You can see that in politics there's no permanent friend. What we have is permanent interest. That is why, if condition warrant it, if Tinubu and Wike can align today, it shows that in politics there's no permanent friend, there's only permanent interest. Because yes, on Wike, the former governor of Rivers State, tried to get the ticket of PDP. When PDP match in face, he hustle hard to be the deputy of Atiku. When Atiku match in face, he go align with Tinubu. That same Wike was supposed to be the enemy, the opposition of Tinubu in that election. He is supposed to contest against Tinubu. If he had won the party ticket, he would have gone around the country bad-mouthing Tinubu. He would have spent all his resources, political capital, network, everything against Tinubu, the man is dining with today. That is why we as a political society will always tell you that it's only permanent interest. If he didn't get the ticket but Atiku had picked him as his deputy, the same Wike, if they had won that election, will be an enemy of Tinubu today, a political enemy. But because his interest was not met in PDP, what did he do? He went to dine with somebody that could have been his enemy in quotes in that same election. Yes, on Wike now did what? He went to align with that person. So you now ask yourself that, where is the discipline? In politics, is there truly discipline? Or is it anywhere benefits or anyhow it goes? Make I just participate, you know, once my interest is protected. Once I can be able to grab power. Now, to put it in context in Edo State, Philip Shuaibu has jumped ship today and is now back in APC. Now, the implication of that for the upcoming gubernatorial election is enormous. For students of politics and political watchers and social commentators, let's not forget that Adams Oshiomhole is a grassroots politician. He has the political network, the political sagacity, and he is one of the right-hand man of the president. Philip Shuaibu is a career politician. He's been in politics since his SUG days during Abacha. Now the guy don't rise through the ranks. They occupy different political positions. He is against Obaseki and Asue Igodalo now, publicly. Now, two grassroots politicians in Edo State in the APC. And don't forget the federal might. Coupled with that. Now, Obaseki is more of a technocrat. It was Oshiomhole that made him governor. He's not a politician. He's not a strong politician. Philip Shuaibu by his side helped his political ambition at the time to realize his second-term governorship ambition. Philip Shuaibu, you may argue that he didn't even win his local government. That's true, because why? He's from the same local government with Adams Oshiomhole. So he was literally contesting against the force of Adams Oshiomhole. But that doesn't mean that you can belittle the street credibility of Philip Shuaibu, the political ruggedity and sagacity of Philip Shuaibu in Edo State. You cannot underestimate him. Now, let us now look at the person of the PDP candidate, Obaseki's right-hand man, Asue Igodalo. Asue Igodalo himself is not a normal standard politician. That's why some political watchers in Edo State are referring to him as strangers. That he was imported from wherever to just come and contest. Just as Adams Oshiomhole, although Obaseki worked a bit with Adams Oshiomhole, said, oh, he wants Godwin Obaseki. Now, another thing we need to look at a bit is, why do politicians usually like non-politicians? Why do they usually like to hand over to technocrats? You know, if I have time, I will come into that. But let us look at this one. Obaseki is not a grassroots politician. Asue Igodalo is not a grassroots politician. Philip Shuaibu might not be able to bake the cake, but he can be a spoiler. And don't forget that the likes of this guy, Tony Kabaka, you know, the political, you know, warlords are loyal to Adams Oshiomhole. So losing out Philip Shuaibu is a loss of great political capital. And that is why Edo State election is an election to watch out for. It will be very interesting. Because if you are contesting against the political might of Adams Oshiomhole, who happens to be the right man, and don't forget one thing, that President Tinubu himself, if he has a way, he will pay Godwin Obaseki back negatively. And I'll give you the analysis. That's why this is the channel to watch. There's no way you'll be watching my analysis and you won't be brilliant politically. I bring you up to speed. Because why? This is what I know. This is my feed. If you take me to engineering, I will fail. But in terms of politics on the African continent and globally, this is the page to stick into. Now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his relationship with Godwin Obaseki is a very terrible one, because the action of Godwin Obaseki to ignite the people in, I think, is it Esak or West or something, to suspend Adams Oshiomhole as the party chairman, which eventually led to his exit, really affected Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Don't forget that Bola Ahmed Tinubu was the acclaimed national leader of APC who was eyeing the presidency. He was waiting for Buhari. You know, that's why I said, whether you like it or not, you may not like his mode of governance. I don't like it too. I'm not a big fan of him. But he's a master political strategist. He waited 8 years. The first tenure, Buhari, he supported Buhari. When Buhari got there, he didn't give him so much chance to kind of like be dictatorial. When Buhari was to contest again, Bola Ahmed Tinubu still supported him. Not because Buhari had maintained a very good relationship or have given him the free hand he wanted, but because he knows that when Buhari lives there, politician will go contest with her for that presidency, go try. And he don't they do in networking, he don't they go meet all those Hausa emirs, all those obis, all those obas, you know, religious leaders. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the type that will sneak into your house 2 a.m. when other people are sleeping. That's when he will come to knock at your door at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. He may have 30 minutes discussion with you and give you something you can't resist. I was watching when I watched on TV when the APC candidate in Oyo State, I've forgotten his name, I'm trying to remember his name. He said on TV publicly that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the godfather of APC at a time, sent him document of a landed property, I think maybe in Banana Island or Ikoyi, one very expensive buy area. We see CFO and everything in an envelope. You know, when they send you like 5-6 CFO of choice location, and they tell you that just pick anyone you want and it's yours, and your name is already written on it, on the CFO, in a choice area in Lagos. Isn't that tempting? Maybe that CFO, maybe that document itself will be backed with some briefcase of dollars. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a strategist. He has the income. You cannot control a street in Lagos State or a local government and be poor for the rest of your life. Just control it for 1 month. And this man has been in charge since 1999. Do you know how much is being generated? Everywhere in Lagos State is crowded. Everywhere in Lagos State is filled up. And one man has been in charge. So he has stupendous wealth. So when Oyegu, who is also from Edo State, was removed as chairman of APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu used his political sagacity to try and make sure that Oshiomhole, who is his political loyalist, was made the chairman. When Oshiomhole was made the chairman, Bola Ahmed Tinubu went to sleep that if Oshiomhole be chairman, ticket they sure for me. 2023 ticket, don't deal. But all of a sudden, Obaseki came out from the blue and just spoiled everything. That almost, don't forget that during that second time election, Bola Ahmed Tinubu was forced to make a broadcast appealing to people, his lovers and supporters, not to vote for Godwin Obaseki, to vote for Ize Iyamu, Pastor Ize Iyamu, the APC candidate at the time. Because why? Bola Ahmed Tinubu was desperate to get Godwin Obaseki out of that office based on what he did to him. He spoiled his political permutation. And the sack of Oshiomhole, by his word, really brought out different court cases, and you know they are different. And don't forget that some governors didn't like Adams Oshiomhole, the likes of Kayode Fayemi, because Adams Oshiomhole happens to be very dictatorial, and the likes of Kayode Fayemi, who has also experienced, will be like, Alaye, behave yourself now. We too will be governor. No be you just come up for governor. You won't come the controller, you won't come the give order. What? You the craze? Behave yourself. So Oshiomhole was unable to have his way. And Oshiomhole, in fairness to him, stood his ground. When some of those governors were trying to be dictatorial as to who will be candidate, Oshiomhole will say, no, let's do correct primary. So some of them don't like him, the likes of Kayode Fayemi. So when Oshiomhole was removed by his word, they begin to file different cases. Before you know it, they go finish Oshiomhole case for Buhari front. And Buhari just call Oshiomhole and say, oh boy, come. Come. By the time Buhari go tell and thought and say, come, Buhari was already reading a statement. easing out Adams Oshiomhole. He had no choice but to leave. That brought in this guy. I can't remember his name. He brought in somebody from the north. What's this former governor of Nasarawa State? Who happens to be person wey be say he no send Tinubu at all. So Tinubu won that APC primary because of the political network that he has built over the years. The political sagacity that he has created for himself, the solid foundation, whereby people like him. Not because he's the best in Nigeria, but because he's the one that knows how to play ball. And you know that Nigerian politicians are, in quote, ballers. They like somebody that can play ball. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu knows how to play ball. He wants something from you. He knows what to give you. He knows how to cajole you. So the political class were happy that if this guy become president, our own done better. We go chop belly full. We go flex. We go enjoy. So most of them were willing to go for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and most of them owe him that debt of gratitude. That's another point. Debt of gratitude. Because Bola Ahmed Tinubu has helped majority of them to win in their state. Don't forget when he's named the Abiodun of Ogun State, Eleyi. Eleyi means this one. You know, when you say this one, that means you are using man to belittling the person. So the Eleyi of Ogun State, it was Bola Ahmed Tinubu that helped him against Ibikunle Amosun at that time. And he has also helped Ibikunle Amosun. He had helped Kayode Fayemi, Rauf Aregbesola, Dave Umahi. When the appeal court, I think it was appeal court, removed him. And he went to, no, I think High Court removed him, went to appeal court or something like that. It was still the same Bola Ahmed Tinubu that helped him with the strong political network. So most of these guys, Akpabio, he was the one that brought Akpabio from PDP to APC. You know, Akpabio served under PDP as governor. It was Tinubu that brought him because they want a political stalwart, key figure in the Niger Delta, that area. And at that time, one of the people they can have is either Wike or Akpabio. Those are the relatively strong guys. But Wike was loyal to PDP to a fault at that time. So they hunt for Akpabio, who happens to be politically flexible. So when they threw Akpabio cake, he just followed them go. So all these guys that were contesting at that time owed Bola Ahmed Tinubu debt of gratitude. So it was easy for Bola Ahmed Tinubu's boys to convince them that say, person will make you governor. Now you won't be president, you won't come the block, huh? This guy don't hold. Now our political leader step down for Allah, you calm down. You, he will reward you. He will give you ambassador, he will give you minister, no worry. So because they owe him the debt of gratitude, all of them had to step down on the long run. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu had look at the political space, say, nobody fit contest with me. Now once, you know, in quote, with profound respect to Obaseki, one small Obaseki, we no sabi politics too much, we no political permutation. Now he won't control spanner in his will, which almost cost him the ticket. So what am I trying to say? Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, Obaseki is in his bad book. He still have an axe to grind with Obaseki. So if you now look at that federal mind, don't forget that Egbetokun, the IG, is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, one of his CSO while he was governor. So he's ready to die for Bola Ahmed. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu tell him Egbetokun go and die, he will say yes and go and die. That is the kind of loyalty, because it is Tinubu that made him IG, and he has been in boy Tete since all those 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002. Egbetokun has been Tinubu's boy. And you know that apart from INEC, the other important stakeholder in conducting the election is the police. So that one sealed. Mahmoud Yakub, if he can't have another tenure, he will want to put his own loyally so that we go cover in track. If we want to nominate, we want to be influential. He who becomes the next chairman. So it will now. He go dey loyal to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So if Bola Ahmed Tinubu call them, say this election has special interest, I want PDP sacked in that state. Omo forget, it go dey difficult to. I dey tell you, it go dey difficult for PDP to win. So you are in the bad book of the president. You are not in the good book of Adams Oshiomhole, who happens to be the leader of APC at this time, the right-hand man of the president, and Oshiomhole has a personal beef with you. Imagine. And at the same time, you don't have Philip Shuaibu by your side. Tony Kabaka, all of them, they are with Obaseki. So you don't have the thug population, in quotes, thug in quotes, the political hallelujah boys. You don't have them by your side. How do you want to win election? Let's be realistic with ourselves. And if Obaseki's performance is anything to go by, his performance is not a supersonic performance. So you don't have the political talks in quotes, the Tony Kabakas, the rugged guys, all those, all those rugged popular frat guys in Edo State. You don't have them by your side. And don't forget that they will rather align with the federal than with you, because they know that if they work for APC, if they key, they just key throw away. Federal might they. So those guys, when they look for power, they will prefer to align with APC, so that if you become Gbege, police will eventually release them, than you will be PDP. So you don't have the likes of Tony Kabaka by your side. You don't have Adams Oshiomhole by your side, who personally have an axe to grind with you. You don't have him by your side. You don't have a grassroots politician like this guy, Philip Shuaibu. You don't have him by your side. You have a personal axe to grind with the president, who happens to be the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and you know the kind of democracy we practice. You don't have them by your side. Now, help me to the list more. You also don't have a super performance. You are not a super performer as governor. Alaye, how do you want to win election? Your eye no see front? Or you are not facing front? Can't you face front? If you face front, you will know that you are just digging your political grave. So the best bet would have been to keep Philip Shuaibu by fire by force, so that Philip Shuaibu can be playing the grassroots game. As Oshiomhole they play in own, Philip Shuaibu go they play in own. Then you simply compensate Philip Shuaibu with maybe senatorial ticket. Make it sign, seal, and deliver. Say the senatorial ticket of PDP will be given to you. Or, okay, Philip, nominate the deputy governorship candidate. At least he will be loyal to you. There's a way you compensate people politically, but no, you want everything. When you know that you are in the bad book, if there is one politician that Bola Ahmed Tinubu would like to deal with, it will be Godwin Obaseki. Because he almost ruined Bola Ahmed Tinubu's political chance and career. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not strong, Amechi would have been. Amechi came second. Looked in Amechi, the former governor of Rivers State. Amechi would have defeated him in that primary. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu wasn't politically strong, the late anointed candidate, late hour, it's not late, he's still alive. Sorry for that. The late hour anointed candidate, the Senate president at that time, Ahmed Lawan, would have just emerged. So, why? Because Oshiomhole was not the chairman. And what made Oshiomhole not to be the chairman? Godwin Obaseki. Now he starts that katakata for him. So that's why Obaseki needs to be very, very careful. And governors in general need to be very, very careful. You don't have to spoil this institution, because the difference between military and dictatorial arm of government, which are the two types of government that we practice since independence is the presence of the legislature. During the military days, the judiciary was functioning, like I said earlier. You know, the Supreme Military Council was the executive. The Edo State governorship election will be a very hard nut to crack. Okay. Lidom Light, I see you. Shout out to you and the people in River State. I see you, my brother. I agree with you that it will be a very hard nut to crack, because we also cannot rule out the power of incumbency. But then, you know that in Nigeria, if they want to rugged you out, they will rugged you out and tell you, go to court. Which court? Which court? When it is even difficult to prove that the outcome of an election is otherwise in Nigeria. You have to get all the results, get people to come and testify. The outcome of governorship and presidential election is very difficult. So they will push their person there first. Then you guys will go to court. And at the court, no be there people there. If you go to appeal court, you no go meet Wike wife there now. Wait, Tanda Gidigba. Do you know the influence of a husband on a wife? Now when he minister to him in the other room, now you go to tell him, baby, cooperate to, let me tell your colleagues, you know. Now madam to go, they say, okay, darling, okay, honey, I'll see what I can do. Straight up. And do you know that there's no way that you won't be able to talk to your fellow colleagues? As police, they follow police talk when we get happen. As army, they follow army talk, they dialogue. You know, even in academics, if your fellow doctor or a professor comes to you, there's a way you relate to such a person. You know, in the form they call it, you know, esprit de corps. The esprit de corps we apply. See, that student and a very good student, and it's my boy, you know. Now so if police arrest you now, even if you commit offense, if you know one higher police and he calls, let me pardon him now, you know, this is Nigeria for you. This is Nigeria for you. So if in Edo State, as we dey talk, if you are not in the good books of this guy, you need to tick the box. Political support, fear INEC, fear police, you know, the political talks, political stakeholders, religious leaders. You are ticking it, pass mark. That's when you can win election. Performance as equivalent. But now, most of these things are not favoring the PDP. And trust me, the best time for Shiomole to strike is now. To now make matters worse, Obaseki is with the divided PDP. Wike that helped him to get the ticket is not in the good book of Wike, which is a faction of PDP. Which is a faction of PDP. Lest I forget, I read in the news that is it PDP suspend Dan Obi, one of those big, you know, political stakeholders in Edo State, Dan Obi. They suspend him for anti-party activity. So in other words, Dan Obi is not also by your side. Come on, bro. How do you want to win the election? So Edo State is going to be a very interesting election, you know. I was supposed to talk about this in Dume, Ali in Dume. You know, I'm a bit convinced. Maybe I should touch on it briefly, or I should make it another video. You know, this thing comes easy for me. That's my training. That's my calling. If you tell me to come and sew clothes, I'll fail. I go just sew nonsense for you. But call me on politics, happening in the polity, or anything in the social sciences. You meet me there. You know, Let me touch on Ali Ndume briefly, maybe for like 5 minutes.